Welcome back to another Kenshi playthrough video. In this video, I'm doing a new start called Rock Bottom. We're starting here with a Scorchlander female, not for any particular reason other than I don't think I've ever started the game with a Scorchlander female, so I tend to just do that. What are we doing here? We're doing the start in vanilla Kenshi that is probably considered the most difficult. You can get some modded starts that are even crazier than this, but this one is pretty difficult. You start with one character in the middle of the Great Desert. You are hungry, you have zero cats, you're naked, and you're missing a left arm. So that's how you start out. So to get going here, the first thing I'm going to try, this is my thought process, by the way, and that's kind of the goal of this, just to walk through kind of how I get the basic needs of this character met early on. 1, survive the desert. 2, get some food. 3, get some clothes. And 4, hopefully get a robotics arm. So I decided to head towards, I think that's half down there. The reason I head that way is because I can't unknow what I already know, and I happen to know there's a skeleton workshop or a robotics workshop in that city, or at least I think there was, or I thought there was, so I thought I'd head there. And that's the main reason why I head that direction. Now, um, thought process here. I need to get to a town because it's dangerous out here in the wild. So I need to try to get to somewhat of a safe area so I can figure out what I'm doing. And I'll be opportunistic along the way. So that's the key here. Careful. Maybe I'm not careful enough. And opportunistic. Basically, you want to get from point A to point B so you can survive. Now, I will point out, for some reason, unbeknownst to me at this point, I decided to go towards Shobutai instead of the place I was originally heading, so I switched directions. Why'd I do that? I think I was thinking I was going to head towards World's End and then maybe Mongrel towns that you'll know if you play the game for a while. Probably for Beep. That was probably my thought process. I don't know. But, anyways, I happened across a battle going on. This is what I mean when I talk about being opportunistic. This is a potential opportunity to get one, clothes from fallen enemies, clothes and armor and weapons, as well as medkits. Remember, I have no medkit. I have nothing to start with. I think I originally thought, well, I'll run past them, but then they looked kind of busy. And oh, there's a body there. Let me go see if I can get a medkit off of them. Seriously, rookie noob mistake. Not a good idea. As you can see, I'm getting the crap beat out of me very quickly. These are sand ninjas, and they're no joke when you're a 0 level person. Ouch. Now, this is the sort of situation that can typically make you panic and freak out when you're a new person playing the game because this looks really bad. But as you can see, I'll just let this play out. I could have died here. I got a little bit lucky, but let's watch and see what happens. Now, if you're new to the game, you might be asking, why are you just watching your character die in the middle of the desert? This game seems stupid and pointless. Well, I'm not dead yet, and the key to the game is survival. So we're going to wait and see what happens. It could be that I die and I have to start over again, which is okay if that happens. I haven't really put much time into this character yet, so I could just start anew again. No big deal. But let's wait and see what happens because it kind of adds to the story that your character has if things happen to them during the game. Basically, at this point in time, I have no choice but to lie here unconscious and wait for something to happen, which there are lots of things that can happen. Someone could come along and enslave me. Now, getting enslaved isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially when you're down and out and hurt and bleeding out in the middle of the desert. Getting enslaved can be a way of getting healed up because once they enslave you, they will heal you. And the key is to survive. survive no matter what. You can see that one of these manhunters got up and went around starting to heal their characters. My hope was, since he's a manhunter, he would see me laying dying in the desert and want to enslave me, heal me up, enslave me, carry me off. To somewhat safety, to be honest. Another manhunter wakes up, but he's got broken legs, so he goes and heals his friend, and then pretty much does nothing after that. Now, I will say this where I've lucked out is none of my critical body parts, meaning my chest, head, or stomach, are seriously injured. I'm basically unconscious because the Sand Ninjas have fairly good swords and it caused a lot of blood loss. They also shot me with crossbow, which also causes a lot of blood loss. So I am unconscious due to blood loss. However, I'm not continually to bleed. So I'm not dying per se. I am dying, but I'm not continuing to get worse, really. I'm actually improving. You can see the blood starting to go up slowly. So, this is how I knew even if no one heals me, I still have a chance of survival. Eventually, once my blood gets above zero, and as long as none of my other critical stats go below zero, I will wake up eventually. Then my character woke up because their blood recovered enough and my first action was let's go crawl over and look for a med kit. These guys sometimes have med kits. This guy unfortunately didn't, but he did have pants. So why not put some pants on so we're not completely naked or at least running around in our, sports bra and underwear. Ah, a med kit. Med kits are good. I can now heal myself. Now, these basic med kits, when you have zero med skill, will get used up very quickly, but at least I can stop the bleeding on this critical part of my body. Then I decide to go make sure I loot all the other characters, get as many med kits as I possibly can before I move on. Of course, I'm crippled, and that's not going to get fixed quickly. I believe my leg here is at negative 300, which I'm surprised it's still attached to my body. It's a messed up leg. That is one messed up leg. I am crippled until that heals up. That is not going to start healing until I, one, heal it with a med kit, and two, get some rest somewhere at some point, which is not going to happen here in the middle of the desert. So I'm basically stuck with being crippled. Check this guy out to see what he was. He wasn't an aggressive bone dog, he's a pet bone dog. If he was a wild bone dog, I would have been a little worried. But since he's a pet, he's just eating a dead body. And he doesn't care about me because I'm still alive. So I keep healing myself up, trying to get healthy. And then I just fast forward because there it goes. Healing takes a long time when you have no skill, that is, and crappy med kits. But crappy med kits are better than no med kit. Then I decide, let's go loot that body, get as many med kits. As you can see, I pretty much used up the med kits that I had already. So if I get hurt again, I'm in real trouble if I don't have any med kits. And I'm stuck crawling across the desert now. Oh, yeah, forget Shobatai. Let's head back down south again. This is a tip. I did turn on sneak mode, so I am sneaking, which lowers my chance of being spotted by an animal or other characters that could be aggressive towards me. It also raises my sneak skill as I crawl across the desert very slowly. Also, in this situation, I can't really move fast anyway, so sneaking at this low level is very slow and I'm crawling, so it's not really any different than if I was just crawling without sneaking. So I might as well sneak, avoid getting spotted as much as I can, and also increase my sneak skill. And I'm taking advantage of the fact that it's night and dark out, so I'm less likely to be spotted. That just happens to be circumstantial, but it is an advantage. And that is why I'm sneaking across the desert. This skimmer doesn't see me and walks right over my head. And as you can see, the little red indicator basically told me that someone was about to spot me. So I looked over to see who it was. And this is another moment of opportunity. This could be bad for me because these are starving vagrants who will be aggressive towards me and come beat me up if they don't like me. But I see that they're fighting a herd of garus. I happen to know from playing the game that these guys really don't stand much chance against a herd of garus, and the garus aren't going to be aggressive towards me generally unless I attack them. There are some situations where that's different, but out here in the desert, they usually aren't aggressive towards you. And I go over and see a dead garu or an unconscious garu and steal all the meat and skins from it, which I can now eat. Scorchlanders can eat raw meat, but I can cook it if I needed to with a campfire and get dried meat. And now I'm feeding myself. I also go ahead and say, hey, let's go get some clothes because these guys have some clothes. I might as well not look as much like a hobo. I'll look like a starving vagrant instead. So I grab his cloak. I look at his other armor. I decide to just keep what I have. I don't want to take any weapons. They have crummy weapons. And I'm thinking I'm going to keep this character as a martial artist for now. That's going to be a whole nother difficult climb, but that's my thought process. And now we're going to finish getting into the city because we're almost there. Now we have two of our needs met. We've got some food and we've got some clothes. Now we just need to not be a cripple and maybe get an arm and possibly some money. We are getting closer to the city. I can see it. So this is a good thing. We can have some semblance of safety within the walls of that city, assuming the city you're headed towards is not aggressive towards you, which most starts they aren't. There are some situations where that might not be the case, but you probably know the game by then to know better to go to a city that is going to be aggressive or who is your enemy. But now we've got some food, we've got some skins we can sell for money, and we've got some clothes. So some needs met. Let's see what we can do next. The fact that I'm sneaking through the gate in front of all these guards is actually boosting my sneak stealth skill by a ton right now. So I slowly sneak through. And as you can see, after about, I don't know how long it was, 20 to 30 minutes in real lifetime, I finally got crawled across the desert and into the city. Now that I'm in a city, I'm going into the shop. I'm going to sell the skins I got from the Garo, get a little bit of money, and possibly some med or splint kits. I think I buy a splint kit here. Let's watch and see. I don't remember 100%. Yeah, splint kit. That way I was thinking, oh, I can fix my legs. My leg's so broken, doesn't really help much, but it was a try. So at this point, now I see that there's some beds here in the city. There's some sleeping bags that are just for vagrants or whatnot. You can actually use these. You cannot use any sleeping bags in buildings that aren't yours or that you don't own or that aren't your allies. But I can use these sleeping bags. So I go sleep because I need to get that leg fixed up. I also have a campfire available here. So if I wasn't a Scorchlander, if I was a Greenlander and needed to cook the meat, or a Shack, they both would need to cook the meat. Hivers and Scorchlanders can eat raw meat, but Shack and Greenlanders need it cooked. So if I needed to, I could cook my food right now and eat finally. So now we've got food. We've got some clothes. We're in the safety of a city. We're sleeping and getting healed up. Now, the last thing we need is to replace that arm. This town does have a robotic shop, so I sneak on over there. And of course, robotics limbs, especially the better skeleton limbs and whatnot, are pretty expensive, and I have not nearly enough money for that yet. I could be a good citizen and try to earn money by mining copper, but I'm too lazy and impatient for that, so I just go and steal one. Now, The advantage of stealing from a robotic shop is that everyone seems to be racist against skeletons. So you can see here, he gets mad at me, but I just wander off and no guards or police seem to come help him out. He's like, they're racist against him or something. I don't know. So apparently they don't care that I stole from him. So I got away with it. I now have an arm, a decent one, and all my basic needs are met. I survived getting across the desert. Now I just have to plan what I want to do next. And so that is just an example of how to survive early game with a rock bottom start, which is one of the more difficult starts. You can follow some of the same ideas and principles that I demonstrated here, no matter where you start, even in the hub. One, the first thing is be sneaky to start, avoid getting into fights. Don't get beat up like I did immediately. That can go very badly. But if you do, don't just quit the game. Wait and see. Maybe you'll get enslaved. Maybe someone will come and heal you up. Generally, you'll get healed up if you get enslaved. Two, be opportunistic. That may mean sneaking into a building and stealing food. That may mean earning a little bit of cash somehow. But if you can see fallen enemies, loot them, sell the stuff, you can buy food, loot them, get med kits, then you don't have to buy them. Loot animals to get food and skins. Basically, you get the general idea. Early game, in my opinion, is all about being opportunistic. That's how you survive. And then have fun with it and just deal with the crappy situations that get thrown at you. That is what Kenshi is all about. Eventually, you'll be the one putting other people in crappy situations, and that makes it fun too. If you enjoy playing Kenshi, or you've tried the game and quickly become frustrated with defeat like I did when I first tried playing, or even if you just enjoy watching video game playthroughs, please like and subscribe. I'll continue to post videos with tips, tricks, and information about the game, as well as simply sharing my playthroughs. Please comment below about your Kenshi experience or suggestions about topics or encounters in game you'd like to see me cover in future videos. Thanks for watching.